Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news. This is the business of sports.
The business of sports can be intimidating or hard for a startup to break into.
We really appreciate when our owners are actually there, with us through the journey.
Teams, ours especially, have been very intentional to diversify at all levels of the company.
I think we're in the golden years for the NFL and college football.
Our demographic reach has continued to expand.
This is going to be really unlocking the streaming platform for sports fans.
Sports valuations are rising. We'll see when they peak.
You don't have to be the best in your sport to make a whole ton of money.
Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
Welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we discuss the big money in the world of sports. I'm Vanessa Perdomo, and we're recording these special episodes on the ground of Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. We're going to be speaking with some current and former NFL players, Super Bowl champions, and Hall of Famers about their adventures on and off the field. Now listen in to our conversation, starting with NFL Hall of Famer Michael Irvin. Michael, thanks so much for joining the Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you guys having me. And yeah, this is pretty nice to be back out here in San Francisco. I'm with Hard Rock Bets and having a chance to be at another Super Bowl, especially here in San Francisco, where I've had so many encounters. You know what I mean? I went through this town to get to my Super Bowl. I had to go through the people in this town.
Right.
So it's always interesting to be back in San Francisco.
Yeah, a different way, right? On this side.
On this side.
Yeah.
Right. More analyst, more being an analyst than being a player. You can hate me less this way. It's the best way. Now, when it was a player, I was coming to whoop your Ain't nothing you can do about that.
Right.
But as an analyst, we're just coming to talk about the game. I won't be catching touchdowns, so you can hate me less.
So let's talk about the Cowboys for a little bit. We got to start there. They missed the playoffs for the second consecutive year. What do they need to turn it around right now?
Listen, I had dinner with Coach Schottenheimer the other day. I got a chance to see him at dinner, and we were talking, and I really feel comfortable, and I'm really excited about the direction. What we talked about was tightening up the defense and the new defensive coordinator that we just hired and his approach towards the game and how symbiotic those two are and working together, with Coach Schottenheimer handling the offense and him being able to provide a defense to supplement and complement the offense. So I really like the direction. I really like the conversation I had with them and the things that they want to do. We got an offense, you just got to make it more consistent. You got the tools now to put a defense together, and let's see what happens.
So
I think it's a good
good
shot that they could be in the hunt for this thing next year.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, with George Pickens. But the number one thing is you got to get George Pickens signed, and say we're going to play football with winning offenses, putting up 35 points a game, and put a defense together that could try to just slow somebody down.
Yeah. So, Michael, I want to talk about the ventures that you have going on. You just launched a new podcast with Netflix and your own production company. Let's start with the production company, Playmaker Productions, right? Tell us more about that and what people can expect, what kind of content.
Man, one thing I've always enjoyed for years and years of doing TV is telling the stories. Mm-hmm. And now, for the first chance, because of the way things have gone, you get a chance. Everybody gets a chance to do that. Before it was just a few big networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, so they could tell the story. Now everybody can tell stories. And the truth of the matter is we're all supposed to be telling stories. The Bible says, confess one to another, pray ye one for the other. In this we shall find healing. That means the more we tell stories and tell the things that are going on in our lives, the more we can recognize the God in our lives, the more encouragement we get, because we realize we're all going through the same things, and other people at some different spectrum of some different place in the spectrum of whatever you're going through. So the more we talk about it, the more we realize, the more we help each other. That's the whole idea. I want to tell stories to point to the real heroes. We get a chance to be heroes on the weekend when we catch a touchdown. So no matter how bad your week has gone, what you've dealt with, you catch that winning touchdown, everybody loves you. And you get to pat people on the back. I want to shine a bright light on real heroes, like the first responders. You know,
so it's not just going to be
and
sports
tell
then?
stories. God no. No. I wanna shine highlights on like the mothers of players, single mothers of players who have worked so hard to watch kids to get their kid to a place. Things like that. People that we don't. That are real heroes, and we don't give that hero pat on the back to.
Really?
Those are the stories I really want to tell.
Wow, that's definitely a different, take for you and different, venture for, what you already are doing and obviously have already done.
Right. I'm gonna still venture into sports and everything and put it around sports. Because let's be real here, sports is the greatest, I think, connector we have. We're all so drawn to sports. The only thing we're this drawn to is politics, and it's divisive. If we don't have sports, we're in trouble.
Right.
It's the only thing that brings us together. It's the only time we'll get over those other gangs, the red and blue and Democrat, Republican, all of that stuff is when we start thinking football colors. So that's what I want to come in through sports, but bring the real life to the real
together,
people, and give a pat on the back to the real heroes. Yeah.
So you also have a Netflix show that just, premiered, The White House.
The White House.
For people who don't know where that name comes from, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, you can never know. You can never not know where that name comes from. The name comes from the White House, the top house. And I like to say a double entendre to the name, but even more than that. First of all, it's probably the most recognizable name in the world. In the world. And think about it. And for what you're talking about is in the documentary, the Netflix documentary, we as a team, or I did with my team, I should say, we had an extra house that we called the White House. It was a little place that we could say we went to commingle at all the time and brought friends to commingle with us and hang out. So, I'm a spiritual man, and I like to make sure I'm not running from the pain of my yesterday, but running to the promise of my tomorrow.
Yeah.
So why not take that same name that the devil meant for evil and everybody tried to throw on me for evil and say, well, I'm bury him with it, and turn it into, that's not a burial. That was a planting. You planted me and I grew something else out of it. So now the White House becomes something great. And by the time we're all done with what we're doing, it'll be put in their minds as something great.
That's going to be what they remember.
That's what it is. Yeah. But I'm going to draw back on your knowing. You're going to tune in. What the hell? He called it what? Are you serious? And then you'll tune in. and think about in the White House. In the White House, what do you have? You have rooms, right? You have a situation room. Me, Brandon Marshall, the Michael Beasley I had on the Charles Haley. We all have had situations. You got to have a situation to come sit in the situation room at the White House to tell your story. And we're going to tell the story for the glory. You know what I mean? Everybody know. Let me tell you, you share stories to help people. We watch games to help ourselves. Why do we watch games? We watch games so we can get strength. We see a team that comes back from a deficit. Then we feel like there's something, we're in a deficit in our lives, and we can come back from it too. That's what you're gleaming from those games, and that's what we're trying to do. We're going to glean good things and move it to good things. In the White House, that's a great name. Absolutely. That's a great name. Yeah. So come on to the situation room and talk about your situation at the White House.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, so you're here with Hard Rock Bet. Tell us more about that. Obviously, it's not something you could have done as a player, having a partnership with a betting platform, but...
It's so good that you asked me this. It's so good that you asked. It's perfect, girl. You did your work. Girl, give me some dap on that. You did your thing, girl. Because you're right. This is my first time working with anybody in this area, in this field. And it's so perfect because Hard Rock Bets, Hard Rock, that's where I had my Hall of Fame party. And they've always been great. It's home. It's Florida. That's where I'm from. Miami plays right there at the Hard Rock, So the partnership for me was was simple, and it was easy, and it was home, and it was family. So I'm excited, and it is my first time.
Yeah.
Because I've been working with the NFL for years, and I used to watch people out here every year come around and walk around with these shirts on, and I could never do it. Mm-hmm. I don't know why the NFL does that to you. You know, I could never do it, but they were working with the gambling companies, but I couldn't do it.
Right.
You know, they wouldn't let me do it.
Yeah.
But right in the game, they were like, all right, what about me? So now that I can do it, I went right, you know, I partnered with family. Mm-hmm. And that's what that is. But there's no better. There's no one better right now. And if you go right now to the game, 4.5 point spread, Hard Rock Bet got this thing
you
right
have
now.
some skin in the big game?
Well, it's going to be a great game. I'm so excited about it because when you look at these kinds of defenses that don't give up much, in each places there's stuff they overcome. They're great stories to tell. Is it Drake made this early, having this kind of year and this kind of career, where he's jumping into the Tom Brady's and the Patrick Mahomes as early winners of Super Bowls, and you know what we project for those two guys and the kind of career they had. Oh, what a hell of a story about a Sam Darnold who started in New York, who they shot so many holes in. Boom, boom, boom. You're not good over here. You're not good over there. You're not good over here. You're not good over here. And he holds on to who he believes himself to be and get his team to this Super Bowl, leaving a wake of stuff, a whole bunch of stuff in his wake. The Jets still horrible. Minnesota fired their GM for letting them go. You know, so he, just like I just told you, he took all the dirt that people were trying to throw on him to bury him, and he turned that into a planting. And now he's grown great things too. Yeah. So this is great storylines in this game.
Michael, as we wrap up here, I want to get your take on something. The NFL's been doing a lot with expansion into the global market.
Yes, I love it.
Would you ever have wanted to play for a team in another country?
Oh, yeah. Would I ever want to go to another country and play? Yeah, we went to Mexico, but it was preseason and everything like that. But absolutely. I love when we do this. I love that we're making this slowly a more world game and not just our own thing. If it brings us together in America, and when you go globally, and I've done those games, broadcasted them and everything, those people show up and they're out there and they love this game, man. And the difference they don't leave. Like here, when one team's winning, everybody else starts leaving. Over there, they don't leave. The game's over, and we're still in the stadium. Everybody's singing these songs, and the game is over.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, so you know, you even look at how they do it. That's the kind of stuff that brings people together. Yeah. So everybody, either you vote for that team, you play for that team, you like this person, like that person. We're all singing together, and there's such a power in it.
If you had to pick a country for a team, if you would have wanted to play.
Brazil. You ain't got to play with it, boy. You ain't got to play with it, boy. Hey,
might be a couple reasons for that.
A whole bunch of reasons. That's so funny you said that. I got my mouth, I run it too much, but I'm going to tell you the truth to it. It's years ago, we were trying to determine where we were going to move the Pro Bowl. And I was helping them on the committee to talk about it. And I suggested Rio. My first suggestion. And I was like, Rio. Let's go to Rio. And they were like, boy, there's so much trouble we get in Rio. I said, you're right, Rio. So, and they go to Brazil now. You know what I mean? They went last year. Blew my mind when they went last year. I was like, oh, my God. They fought me when I suggested Rio. And now they're in Rio. Yep. They went over there. So, that's one of my favorite places in the world.
Amazing. Well, Michael, thanks so much for joining the Bloomberg Business of Sports. We had a great time talking to you.
Thank you. And I like you. You look good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
That was our conversation with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion Michael Irvin. There's more Bloomberg Business of Sports coming up after this.
This is Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
Welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we discuss the big money in the world of sports. I'm Vanessa Perdomo, and we're recording these special episodes on the ground of Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. We're going to be speaking with some current and former NFL players, Super Bowl champions, and Hall of Famers about their adventures on and off the field. Next, we have one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, Terrell Owens. Terrell, thanks so much for joining Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Man, thanks for pronouncing my name correctly. I appreciate that.
I tried, right. To make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
So we're in San Francisco, like I mentioned. You started your career here. Yeah. When you come back, I imagine obviously you've been back since you were playing days, but when you do come back, is there always a certain sense of nostalgia, certain emotions that come up for you?
Not a lot of emotions. I mean, I wish I would have won a Super Bowl here. Mm-hmm. I tried my best, my damnedest to do my part to get the team what's been so elusive over the years. Mm-hmm. And I know the Niners, they've been knocking at the door over the last few years and haven't been able to get over that hump. But they've been plagued by a number of injuries, which obviously you play this game and you follow it. You know that it's kind of like not how you start, it's how you finish. And when you lose key players and you have key players injured and playing through injuries throughout the course of the year and they're not playing to their max. Mm-hmm. They're not playing at 100% level as the beginning of the season. It's hard to win. And I think with them, they have some pieces I think they need to acquire at the receiver position. They have some nucleus of guys by committee. They're still developing Purcell. Juwan Jennings, he's been kind of like their most consistent receiver, but he's not the dynamic receiver like take the top off that they need at that position. But when I come here, man, obviously, coming up the 101, from the airport, I was telling someone, I'm like, man, I used to look off to the right and see when we used to drive to the stadium, you used to see that stadium off in the horizon, but now it's gone. There's no more. So just being here, obviously, like I said, I have some ties here. Had some iconic moments, some legendary moments here. Obviously, a lot of people remember the catch that I made against the Green Bay Packers, and then also a lot of people remember, obviously the moment that I signed the football with a Sharpie. Obviously you see my jacket here. Yeah. So I partnered with them just recently with their Rookie of the Year campaign. So like I said, they got some candidates. Rookie of the Year, Roma Duze with the Bears, and obviously T-Mac. So they're making their marks on the field. Trying to kind of replicate and do some of the things that I did on the field. I don't know if they're doing it as good, but I kind of set the standard. So everybody, like I said, remembers that game. Like I said, it's been replayed over and over. I don't know particularly during the Super Bowl year, but throughout the course of the year, obviously when you have different matchups and you talk about touchdown celebrations, that celebration always comes up and everybody's like, well, how did that happen? Honestly, it was impromptu, and there was nothing premeditated about it. Literally just on the sideline right before I went out in the next series. Like, hey, Doc, that was one of the guys who's currently still on the staff with the Niners now. I asked him for a Sharpie. He gave it to me, and then I put it in my sock, and he was waiting for me to give it back to him. I guess he thought I was going to either black something out or write something on my like tape or something, which a lot of players do. And I'm like, no, I'm good. You can go ahead. So he left, and then I knew that on the confidence that I had in myself and my abilities, I knew that I was going to score on the next series going out. And surely enough, I did. And, what was so ironic about it, we had a mutual friend, Sean and I, Sean Springs, who I scored on. We have a mutual friend, Greg Eastman, who I think does some business work with Sean. He was actually at the game, and there are some lower seats in the back of that end zone where I scored. I ended up giving him the football.
Oh, wow. So it came really full circle there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'll talk about full circle. It's like so interesting that you had this moment with it, and then you have a partnership with them. Like, is it something it's like you don't even think about when you're a player because you use it all the time? And to have a partnership with them now, how crazy.
Yes, I mean, obviously, that's like a running joke sometimes when I go places. I mean, I do speaking engagements, and some people want to be creative and try to like get the crowd engaged. And I'll randomly have people that'll come up to me and ask me to sign something, and then I pull a Sharpie out of their sock. You know what I mean? So again, like I said, it's creative. Again, I didn't understand the magnitude and really kind of in which it's the splash that it's made thus far. I didn't think that it would make such a big deal. But again, like I said, it come full circle. Like I said, everybody always remember like Sharpie.
Yeah.
When you talk about Sharpie, you got to think about T.O., you know what I mean?
So obviously we're here at the Super Bowl, we're talking about football, but I want to talk to you a different sport that you're also really into, really passionate about? Pickleball.
Oh, yeah, I love pickleball. I got my bag over there, and my pickleball paddles are in there. Just in case they had this warehouse, this radio row here. I don't understand why they don't have a pickleball court in here.
You think there should be one, like, right in the center?
Absolutely. They should have a pickleball court in here somewhere. Just for, like, downtime of, people not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that line would be crazy long, though. People love pickleball.
Hey, see, I'm giving them, I'm giving them some
ideas. You're giving them
some
ideas.
You know what I mean? And it could be the TO, the Terrell Owens, sponsored by Sharpie pickleball court. Okay. Are you guys hearing this? Yeah. You hearing this? Y'all hearing this? Yeah, I'm giving you guys some great ideas here. Mm-hmm. But I love pickleball. I just picked it up last year. I've been playing consistently, probably right around 10, 11 months. Mm-hmm. And so I've made some leaps and bounds since I picked it up last year. Shout out to Marcellus Wiley, who introduced me to the sport. So, you know Marcellus Wiley? Mm-hmm. He has his own show. He was on sports something with Michelle Beadle and all of them. Okay. He played with the San Diego Chargers. Mm-hmm. We both live in LA. He converted his basketball court into a pickleball, and so he has this group thread that he sends out to a mass thread to everybody weekly, monthly. So for about 3 or 4 months, he kept sending me this text to come play pickleball, and I'm like, Marcellus, I don't even know how to play pickleball. I don't even have a paddle. Yeah. And he said, man, just come out, learn it, blah, blah, blah. So I went to a store, tried to find me some pickleball paddles, and I saw there was different brands. There was Vulcan, Selkirk, Head, Yola. I'm like, I didn't even know what to pick up. Right. And then I saw these high price, these $250 for a paddle. Mm-hmm. Ben John's name was on all these Yola paddles. Uh-huh. So I knew him, and then all these other guys. But now I'm very familiar with a lot of pickleball players, the brands and the equipment, and I just partnered with CPX Pickleball company out of Chicago. So I have
now you have your own paddle.
I have my own signature paddle. So you guys watching, you pickleball enthusiasts, go to cpxpickleball.com. Pick up my signature paddle, and let's go hit the courts.
Bloomberg audience loves them some pickleball. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that.
Do you know the best player in Bloomberg on the staff?
It's me. It's me. Of course it is.
You wasn't selling yourself. So
Listen, it's me.
I didn't really think.
I played with Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees. We had some stuff going on. It was pretty good.
You cook? You in the kitchen? You like?
I like the kitchen. I would say
I'm going somewhere.
I'm more in the back. I like the back. I'm running cross. Okay,
I was going somewhere with it. I'm like, you seem like a lady that likes to be in the kitchen a lot. And for pickleball, that's not appropriate. You don't want to be in the kitchen.
No, you can't be in the kitchen. You can't be in the kitchen. No, dinking isn't for me. I don't like to be nowhere near that stuff.
That's the thing. So you haven't gotten your dink game down.
Yeah, no.
So I have. So I do a lot of speaking engagements, and so I always talk about my 3 pillars of success, and there are 3 Ds with that. So I have a 3 Ds of pickleball as well. So my 3 Ds of my pillars of success are desire, dedication, and discipline. Mm-hmm. But my 3 Ds in pickleball are drives, drops, and dinks.
Okay.
In order to be a really true pickleball player, you got to master those 3 to really get your game up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You have 1 or 2 of those games. You got the drive, you got the drops, or the dinks?
Yeah, the drive for sure.
So you got 1/3.
The drop, I'm not too bad at the drop, but the dinking.
So how's your finesse game? Are you nice with the hands?
Yeah, you know what it is? I'm really decent at a backhand. I can get cross court. It's like my thing.
Oh, I like that cross court.
Yeah,
I like cross court.
So obviously, also with your brand Prototype 81, you also have pickleball clothes.
Yeah, cross court essentials. Yeah. So if you go to prototype81.com, I have some performance wear, which obviously like shorts, your dry fit shirts, some your workout attire, but my elevated brand line is called Cross Court Essentials. Mm-hmm. That's it's gonna be really fire. I can see
that's like fashion.
Yeah,
pickleball is that's a market. Do you feel like was missing?
Yeah, it's more of your social. It's like that social club vibe. Obviously, your wide leg, comfy, with a little fashion to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about football a little bit. Right now, when you're looking at young receivers, who are you excited about that you think gives a little bit of that TO vibe? Maybe they're not there yet, but
I don't really see. There's some that have the physical aesthetics, but I don't think on a consistent level they haven't been able to do and replicate what I did. Been showing some flashes. So you think of your DK Metcalfs, your AJ Browns. Outside of those 2, there's really not any big receivers that can obviously play at every level of the game. You got your short game, your middle of the game, over the middle, and then take the top off. I was able to really kind of, I think, perfect and craft a little bit of all of that. Playing in the slot, playing outside, being kind of like a Swiss Army knife, being multi-purpose in a sense. I played out of the backfield a little bit. Even lined up at quarterback. So to be that type of athlete, and then the offensive coordinator, offensive staff to have the confidence to put you in those situations to excel, that really kind of shows you what type of athlete you really are. Those guys that I just mentioned, they definitely have the skill set. They just got to be consistent and really just be game changers. There's playmakers and there's game changers. Right now, they're on the cusp of being game changers, but when you're with A.J. Brown, I wouldn't say he's a game changer, because if he was, the offensive coordinator would put him in position to be that. There shouldn't be a play or a series where he shouldn't touch the ball. They have another receiver on the other side of him, Devontae Smith. I think they should utilize him more. But obviously, the lack of success that they had this year is due largely because of the offensive coordinator. And I didn't know that, because everybody's like, why aren't they? Everybody wants to replicate and duplicate what they did the year prior. Yeah. The success that they had, they figured that the Eagles would have gone back. I honestly felt like they would have gone back with the crew that they had, because they didn't have a lot of injuries, really, to be honest. Right. I think they were playing with the same and not better players this year than they did last year. So they should have been a shoe-in to get back to the Super Bowl. But some of the things that plagued them throughout the beginning of the season that A.J. Brown alluded to kind of came back to haunt them in the playoffs.
When we wrap up here, I want to get your take on this. The NFL's been doing a lot to expand globalization, play all these other different places around the world. How do you think about that? Do you think they're doing a great job with it? Would you like to see a team based in another country? Do you think that would be helpful?
I don't know how. I don't honestly. Logistically, I don't know how that would work. How far away? The only way I can see that is like having a team like in Canada, but to have a team like overseas, that's a lot of travel.
So as a player, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that.
I don't know how feasible that would be. I'm sure they probably want to tinker and experience it, experiment with it. But yeah, I don't know how many I don't know how many players would sign off on that.
Yeah. Tiro, thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate you joining the Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
That was Hall of Famer Terrell Owens. Next up, we will hear from dynamic wide receiver duo for the Cincinnati Bengals, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So, guys, welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm joined by Cincinnati Bengals stars T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. We're fresh off the Pro Bowl. T, you look like you guys were having so much fun out there last night. How'd it go?
I definitely had a great time. It's my first Pro Bowl. I'm blessed to even say I'm a Pro Bowler. You know what I mean? But I had a great time. Him and Joe made it easy for me. So yeah.
Yeah, how was it like having everyone there together? Right? I mean, that's a special thing, right, Jamar?
Yeah, I felt like it was the Bengals Pro Bowl, if I'm being honest. We had a lot of weapons over there, so why not?
So, I mean, you ran back for a touchdown last night. Are you getting used to this flag football stuff, Jamar? Ready for the Olympics, you think?
I've been hearing this so much lately. I must be number one pick for everybody on the Olympics team, because I've been hearing this every day. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind playing. I think that would be pretty cool, just because I watched, the USA basketball team growing up my whole life. So just being a part of that as history, I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
Right, because it's a new thing, right? For football players to be able to be a part of that, represent Team USA in a different way.
I think it'd be dope to have the opportunity to win a gold medal.
Yeah, right, for sure. So you guys came out with this new announcement today, really exciting. Chasing Number One, the talk show.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, Jamar. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Chasing No One, Chasing Number One. It's like a, run on, what I'm saying? So it's just a podcast for me, myself, and to T to explore and talk about any topic we can and just open ourselves to new things. You know what I'm saying? We trying to do a lot of stuff off the field and on the field. So off the field, we're going to start a podcast called Chasing No One.
Yeah. T, tell me about why you guys want to use your voice in this way to talk about stuff off the field, everything like that.
Yeah, people only see us with our helmets on and don't really, they hear us in the media, and in the media it's always about football. You know what I'm saying? We want people to pick our brains, not just about football, you know what I'm saying? Give people a different perspective of what we do, off the field. what we like to do for fun and things like that. So,
So it's going to run the gambit of just all things, everything.
Yeah, it's just more than an athlete. You know what I'm saying? You're just doing a lot.
So why do this platform? Why with Overtime? Why was this the right move, Jamar?
Well, Overtime was, one of the best people that helped us the most. Also gave the most production for us and most of the viewers. So I think that's the biggest thing to help us reach worldwide, especially as far as all age gaps. And it's just like, why not? I did stuff for Overtime when I was younger too, so it was a no-brainer for me.
So it was keeping that partnership going, that family you already have. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So tell me about who you're trying to reach, what stories you want to say, because you said people only talk to you about football teams. So what else are you really looking to get out there that you want to talk about that you haven't been able to?
Yeah, like sometimes we're gonna do like live shows on Twitch, his Twitch, which we're live right now.
Yeah.
And just I might go fishing and we talking while we fishing. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You know what I'm saying? Things that we are into outside of football. So
it's not just locker room talk.
Exactly.
It's not just stuff like that. It's on the mic, whatever you guys are talking
Fashion,
about, like
cars,
in the headset that you're talking about, like when you're
housing.
playing, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So people can expect. What would you say when you're trying to think of one characteristic that you're trying to get people to understand from this show? Jamar, what would you want them to walk away with?
Well, really, I feel like the biggest thing from podcasts is learning from others' examples. The only way I can relate this is from the podcast show called The Pivot, and with Ryan Clark, and I've been on there, so I can understand the deep conversations that we've had and the other topics that we've been on that I never sat there and thought about and had a conversation with another person. Especially as an athlete, a lot of times we go through stuff and we don't talk. So I feel like this is another way for us to just talk and express ourselves and have let off steam without talking trash or anything,
So when you're sitting there having those, how long are these episodes going to be so you can really get into those sorts of conversations?
Yeah. We're gonna. It's not gonna be too long. You know what I'm saying? We want to keep everybody interested. You know what I'm saying? You can't drag it too long. But we're gonna have some episodes where it might be cut off leading into the next episode. So it might be like series sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely gonna be interesting.
Tell me about the role that media plays in your life, T, as you're trying to get your voice out there more, and the way that it plays right now, just being an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm trying to get my voice out there, guys like Overtime, people like Bloomberg Radio, you know what I mean? Just put us out there and, try to get our show to, more viewers and things like that. As for athletes, like, it's just football, you know what I mean? And things like that, and we just want to be different.
When you guys started creating the idea for this show, did other things start turning in your head? Like, oh, I really like the idea of being in charge, owning something.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we can both say yeah on that.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of things now that we're trying to get into is more off the field for longevity. You know what I'm saying? We have kids now. We got family got to worry about. So at what day and age are we going to sit ourselves down and teach it to ourselves?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And put ourselves through situations instead of hearing it from somebody about how they did a situation. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has different situations.
Right.
And I feel like when we sit down and have these topics and have other guests on, we get to learn from them, they get to learn from us, and we get to hear different universal situations. I think that's the biggest thing.
So you're excited to not just have these conversations, but to learn as well while you're doing it. Yeah, absolutely. So getting a little bit back to football here, now we're looking into next season. For you guys, in yourself, do you have the same routine every off season, or are there things that you do, T, that you try to elevate every year?
Well, for me, I kind of keep it the same. Obviously, I elevated. Well, last year I elevated on my, I'm gonna say my muscles and getting better because I have a history of soft tissue injuries and things like that. So that was my biggest thing, was working on that, make sure I stay healthy all season, which I did, other than concussions. But for me, it's been the same thing that I was doing last year.
Mark, what about you? Same thing every year in the off season, or try to add new elements?
I would always say I try to add new things. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing. Just expanding your game in so many ways is hard but easy, and you're only gonna know is if you try it. You know what I'm saying? And I think the biggest thing is me every year trying to work on something new, or work on more than something that I did last year, so I could be better at it when the season comes. That's all.
Is there anything you've tried in the offseason that you were surprised about that really helped you elevate?
I mean, no, not really. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. My production has been good, so like it's not like it's not like I'm looking at a particular thing on my film where I need to get better at. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff that I want to get better at, but I can't look at my film and say I'm not doing it the best. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about me remembering sometimes of the mentalness when I'm tired. That's the biggest thing. When you're mentally tired, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you guys thinking about when you have to do to get back here next year? Obviously, you guys can do whatever you can, but as a team, when you go into the locker room at the start of the season, what are those things that you're going to be thinking about for your goals?
Just really playing complementary football, starting fast. I think that's the main thing. Usually we start a little slow and put ourselves in get behind a little bit. I think we start fast and play complementary football. I think we'll be all right.
So one of the other things I want to get both of your takes on as we wrap up here is the NFL's doing obviously this incredible job with trying to expand the game globally. And they just announced the game in Paris next year. They're going new places. Yeah. Paris is happening in 2026.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really hope
the
us.
Bengals like one of the only teams that haven't been overseas to play.
Yo, I really hope that's us.
So they did announce the Saints so far.
They
did? Yeah.
I don't think we play the Saints.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys will get a game. So that's interesting. You guys want to be able to play overseas.
I mean, I think it'll be dope. You know what I mean? Especially for me personally, I don't travel that much, which I need to start. You know what I'm saying? But I think it'll be dope.
Yeah. If you had to choose somewhere to go to have a team based out of in another country, what would you say? Where would you go?
Barcelona.
Spain. Yeah, I was going to say Spain.
Guys, thanks so much for joining Bloomberg Business Sports. I super appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Pro Bowlers Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. There's more Bloomberg Business of Sports coming up after this.
This is Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
Welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we discuss the big money in the world of sports. I'm Vanessa Perdomo, and we're recording these special episodes on the ground of Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. Now listen in for a conversation with retired NFL tight end Kyle Rudolph, who is working to make youth sports more accessible. Kyle, welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports. I'm so happy you're here and we're getting to talk to you this year.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
You're working with Good Sports, and tell me about it. Tell me about why you work with them.
Well, I can't think of a better platform to have than Bloomberg Sports of Business, because it's wild to think about, like, youth sports has become a business. Mm-hmm. We all know college sports has become a business. Right. The term student athlete, like, I was in college a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And even then, there was a business to college football. Right. Now it's just insane. And it's worked its way all the way down to youth sports. So I've worked with Good Sports for about a year and a half now, understood their mission for the very first time at a panel I spoke on in New York City, and it just really resonated with me as someone who clearly played youth sports my whole life, learned so many lessons through youth sports. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play 12 years in the NFL, and not every kid that plays youth sports is going to go on and play professionally. Right. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't play youth sports all the way through. Mm-hmm. And on this platform, talking about the business of sports, money has become a huge issue for youth sports. Mm-hmm. These parents are, refinancing homes and taking out loans and working multiple jobs because they just have to afford to give their child the equal resources that other kids have to play youth sports. And, over the history of the organization in Good Sports, they've donated over $130 million in resources to kids. And it's not just, I have an older brother and I've got hand-me-down cleats that are 3 or 4 years old. And it's about providing these kids not just the cleats themselves, but giving them a new pair of cleats. Right. So they can go out there and feel comfortable and be confident to perform to the best of their abilities. And ultimately, it's like one of the staggering statistics that I learned getting involved with Good Sports is it's like 75% of parents consider taking their kids out of youth sports because of money.
Because it's too expensive.
Just because of money. And, I get it. There's the business opportunity across all of youth sports, but it's such a shame when kids don't get that experience because you learn so much about yourself.
Yeah.
You learn so much about, working with people that come from different backgrounds. You learn so much about handling adversity. I have 4 kids, 9-year-old identical twin girls, 7-year-old boy, 4-year-old boy. And it's like, I love watching them in youth sports. I love seeing the passion that they have. It sounds crazy to say, like, I love seeing them fail and how they handle that failure and then seeing them succeed.
Yeah.
And the journey that started with the failure and then they work really hard and then ultimately overcome.
That's such a professional athlete way of thinking.
Yeah, well,
because you have to learn from that, right?
People just always think like, oh yeah, you play sports because you're going to be a pro one day. Like, if none of my kids ever play pro sports, who cares?
Right.
Like, I want them to love sports as much as I did as a kid, because if you love something, like, you're ultimately going to work hard at it.
Right.
And the work ethic that sports instills in you is what really matters in life.
Yeah.
Not if you play for 12 years in the NFL.
Yeah. It's such an interesting thing, and the interesting point that you're making, that it's become almost a professionalization at a young age, right?
100%.
So how do you fix that? How does the system get fixed, do you think?
Unfortunately, like, we've opened this can of worms, and it'll be really difficult to fix. I think it's so incredible to have programs and resources like Good Sports that youth sports are what they are at this point. So are we going to be able to put the cat in the back of the bag? No, probably not. But how do we make sure that a child who is deserving of all these opportunities has the means and resources to be able to take advantage of that? And I think that's what Good Sports does, as well, if not better than anyone else.
Do you think there's an education piece for parents in it? Because I think some people don't know what they really need to be doing, what kind of sports are out there. And I feel like I've talked to some of my friends who are like, oh, I think I'm just going to put my kid in an AAU, not knowing that's a very high level to be at just to start. And it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So do you think there's an education piece there that you can be in sports and not have to spend that money?
Absolutely. There's a huge education piece, too, on, like, what are you trying to get out of sports? Like, what is actually important for your kids? I see it. I laugh about stories of my kids, being at the rink for hockey, lived in Minnesota for a long time. A lot of NHL guys, their kids are playing. And we're all, like, kind of sitting on the side, chatting it up, laughing, and then you have a bunch of dads that are, like, expecting their kids to be in the NHL one day, and it's like, that's not what this is about. Like, this is about the lessons that they learn, teamwork, adversity, hard work. So I wish, I wish there was an education piece, because these parents just can't help themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they want little Tommy or Susie to, like, be a professional athlete at some point, and it's like, why don't you just let them be a kid?
I think there's a statistic that I know it's either 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 11 parents think their child under the age of 10 will become a professional athlete.
Yeah. So much changes from it's under 10, which is crazy. Like, so much changes from 10 to 14, 14 to 18, physically, mentally, emotionally. We all knew that kid that was the best player on our team or in our league or in our city when we were 10 or 12 or 14, and they may not made it to play pro sports. Like, a lot has to go right. You're very lucky to get to that, top 1% of the 1% to be able to play pro sports.
The other interesting thing that is a problem right now in youth sports that people say is kind of plaguing the system is specialization at a young age. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up as a kid who played 3 sports. Would have played more if we had, but I grew up, like, we didn't have lacrosse where I grew up. Like, it was baseball in the spring, and then you have track in the spring, and, there's just so many opportunities now to play all these different. We encourage our kids to play everything. If you love it, you're going to work harder at it. You're going to fight through the tough times, the adversity. But we're not just going to play baseball. We live in Florida. You're not just going to play baseball all year round. You're not going to just play hockey all year round.
Right.
Basketball year round. Football now it's changed. Back in the day it was 10 weeks in the fall, but now there's 7-on-7 leagues and all these different things. So I think it's incredibly important to play as many sports as you can. It's good physically, develop a wide range of skills, but also you're not overusing the same thing that if you just skate 12 months out of the year, play baseball all the time, and you're constantly throwing the ball, like your body at that age is not meant to do one thing all the time. And that's why I think we're seeing a lot more injuries in youth sports too.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that's blowing up in youth sports in a positive light, flag football.
Yeah.
How do tell me about that and about how that also able to introduce it to women as well and girls in football.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think, what flag does is it ultimately broadens the reach of the game of football. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it, young girls. It's awesome seeing young girls, go out there and either play against boys, kick the boys' butts, compete with the boys, but have the opportunity to understand a game that was, for the longest time, predominantly male, understood by men. Men grow up in the game, so men are the ones becoming coaches, front office scouts. You look at what Jim Irsay's daughter is doing in Indy, takes over the team, and it's like she's invested. She understands it. She's in meetings. And it's so cool to see that. As someone who has two daughters, they play flag football at school. Like, I remember they come home and they're telling me about it. My daughters are talking about football, and it's certainly something that I never would have expected 10, 15 years ago.
Right. Now we're talking about the growing reach of football. I'd like to get your take on this. NFL has done a lot of job about growing the reach globally.
Yeah.
Tell me, what you think about that, about playing in different countries and how that's been able to grow the game in a different way as well.
I think it's cool. You're also talking to someone who played twice in London, once in Germany, and was 3-0 abroad. So I never had to fly home after losing, which may change my perception on international games. But in terms of the league and reach and growth and fandom, it's like we have such a great game, and now they're educating others. I remember in 2013, I went to the UK for an NFL roadshow where we were literally going from city to city, Dublin, Manchester, Leeds, London, just talking about football.
Have you ever heard of the sport?
Yeah, when the ball gets kicked, it's usually not good. That's a punt or a kick. That's a change of possession. Because for them, they just cheered when the ball gets kicked. That's what they're used to.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to see ultimately, again, we're here to talk about the business of sports. How much room, unless another Taylor Swift phenomenon is going to hit the NFL and bring new viewers in America to the NFL, the NFL market is tapped.
It's pretty.
So how do you grow?
Big enough here, yeah.
Global.
Right.
So I think there's 9 international games next year, going to Australia, going to Paris, multiples, new stop. I think they're in Brazil again, just really, really cool places.
Yeah.
I loved all my trips abroad. I thought they were a ton of fun.
So you, as someone who's played in multiple and played in 3 and in different countries, do you think that there's a feasibility that a team could be based overseas?
Logistically, that's the hard one. I know there's been a ton of talk about a team in London and, can you do it with is there kind of a home base here where maybe they come over here for 4 weeks and they're not flying back and forth? And if the NFL can figure it out logistically, I wouldn't put it past them. But, I think the path is probably going to be more so, do we add another game to the regular season? So now we're playing 18 games. Every team will play internationally at least once a year. So you're still bringing 17, 18 games internationally, but it's not just one team whose home base is there.
Yeah. Kyle, thanks so much for joining Bloomberg Business Sports. It was great to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
That was retired NFL player Kyle Rudolph. And that does it for the first day here on Radio Row at Super Bowl 60. Keep checking in on the feed all week for all Super Bowl related content.